Hello everyone, it's Maki. What does justice mean to you? It's such a difficult question. Even within the Gundam series, it's a recurring theme. The justice someone believes in can easily appear evil from the perspective of someone on the opposite side. This isn't limited to the Gundam series. It's a concept that appears in many stories and even in the real world. Today, I'd like to share one possible answer to that question. The answer comes from a story beloved by Yoshiyuki Tomino, the creator of the Gundam series. I hope it helps you think about what justice truly is. Now, before we get into the main topic, I have a quick announcement. My channel is currently seeking support through memberships. For 99 cents a month, you can get a name badge and stamps for your comments. Alright then, let's get started. Now then, the Yahoo Search Awards 2025 have been announced in Japan. It is an event where the most frequently searched words by Japanese residents are collected and revealed. In the anime category, G collects won first place. There is something very important for today's topic within this event. A live-action TV drama called Unpan. It has no connection to the Gundam series. However, the story features someone who influenced Mr. Tomino greatly. The drama is based on the life of the real artist Takashi Yanase. Yanase is famous as a manga artist, but he also created works in various fields including poetry, music, and picture books. He was also active in fields such as magazine editing and stage art. The Japanese government highly praised his achievements and awarded him the extremely prestigious Sui Hosho decoration. It is given to individuals who have made significant contributions to the nation and its people. His most notable work is the story Anpan, which is widely considered one of the most famous stories in Japan. Earlier I shared with you an interview in which Mr. Tomino spoke. There is one part that I didn't have the chance to include in that episode. The interviewer asked will the name Yoshiyuki Tomino remain in people's memories forever alongside Gundam. In response, Mr. Tomino said, "My personal name will probably not remain. If there is a story that will be remembered for a long time alongside the name of an individual, it would be a story like Anpan." That's what he said. From this article, we understand that in Mr. Tomino's mind, the names of Anpan and Mr. Yanase will continue to live on in people's memories for a very long time. What kind of story is Anpan? It's a children's story. Originally a picture book, it later became a popular TV anime series that captivated young viewers. And is a traditional Japanese food. It's made from beans mixed with sugar and other ingredients. Pan means bread. It's a food loved around the world. The combination of these two Anpan is a food cherished by many people in Japan. It's bread with a sweet bean filling. In this context, man means a person who possesses the power of that existence. If you think of it like Superman or Batman, its meaning becomes clearer. So, Anpan is a hero who has the power of Anpan. His head is made of Anpan. It's a very cute feature. He shares pieces of his head with people suffering from hunger, letting them eat it. This is Anpan's heroic act. Rather than defeating villains who disrupt world peace, he helps people by feeding the hungry. The story has become extremely popular today, but it didn't receive a very positive reception when it first appeared. Many people had the preconceived idea that a hero is someone who is cool, strong, and powerful and defeats evil. Some also thought that the figure flying through the sky with part of his face missing after someone eats it looked uncool. Why did Mr. Yonose create such a hero? The answer lies in war. Mr. Yonose was over 20 years older than Mr. Tomino. He passed away in 2013. He had the experience of taking part in the war as a soldier. In an interview, he said that a bullet fired by the enemy had once grazed his ear. Through experiences like these, his understanding of justice slowly evolved. This process was also portrayed in the TV drama I mentioned earlier. While serving on the battlefield, Mr. Yonose and his comrades found themselves unable to obtain food. One day, one of his comrades pointed a gun at a civilian in an attempt to take their food. That friend was not an evil person, but because of extreme hunger, he became someone who tried to take from others by force. The person with the gun didn't get angry or resist. They simply said, "Wait a moment." Then they shared their food with Yonose and his friend. As Yonose and his friends devoured the food like starving animals, they couldn't hold back their tears. These experiences gave rise to the concept of absolute justice in Yonose's heart. Justice is not firing missiles or bombs at those defined as enemies to take their lives. Justice is sharing your food with someone who is hungry. This was Mr. Yonose's conclusion. Ant-Man is a story based on this definition of justice. The fact that he shares the food he has is also important. Ant-Man removes parts of his own body and gives them to people in need. Rather than taking what belongs to someone else, he shares what he possesses, which is another essential element of his justice. After hearing everything up to this point, haven't you remembered something? That's right! Stories created by Mr. Tomino often feature bread. In Gundam F91, for example, the heroine Cecily's family owns a bakery. In Tane Gundam, the protagonist Rowan's best friend also runs a bakery, which plays an important role in the story. When Kiss says "I'll offer bread to anyone, enemy or ally," it's similar to the spirit of Ant-Man. Bread also appears in the Tane Gundam novel and Crossbone Gundam. Mr. Tomino did not write these works. However, in afterwards, interviews and setting materials, each author said that they spent long hours discussing the world of the story and the approach to creating the narrative with Mr. Tomino. In the Tane Gundam novel, Kiss and Rowan have a conversation about bread. This scene takes place after the moon race, and the Earth people have become hostile and fallen into a state of war. Kiss says maybe I should fight as a soldier too, but Rowan becomes angry. He tells Kiss making bread and easing people's hunger is something truly wonderful. It's more noble than fighting. What about Crossbone Gundam? It appears in Crossbone Gundam Ghost. The protagonist suffers a mental breakdown under extreme battlefield conditions. In the story, this is called the runaway of reason. His concern for human life and emotion weakens, and he can only think in an extremely rational and detached way. What solves this condition is bread. By eating the bread that the heroine worked hard to make with sincerity, the protagonist regains his humanity and is able to control his thoughts again. The person who taught the heroine how to make bread is Shibu Kano. He is the protagonist of Gundam F91. After the events of Crossbone Gundam, he starts a bakery. He left the battlefield to make bread. In the Crossbone Gundam sequel, still 7 highly skilled pilots gather to save Earth from a crisis. In one scene, the protagonist tries to recruit Seabook to help win the battle. However, after seeing Seabook living happily away from the battlefield, he decides not to invite him back into the war. Later, reflecting on this, Seabook says, "They must have seen as much value in an ordinary life of baking bread as in the mission to save the entire Earth." Seabook then decides that he will continue being a baker for the rest of his life. In another scene, Seabook says, "As long as I'm here, I won't let a single person in this town go hungry." He bakes bread himself and shares it with others to ease their hunger. Doesn't Seabook look just like Ant-Man? Mr. Yonose is an artist deeply admired by Mr. Tomino. Ant-Man is Mr. Yonose's most famous work. By analyzing these elements, we found one possible answer to the question, what is justice? There is one point you should keep in mind. The idea that the Gundam series was influenced by Ant-Man is just my personal speculation, so please keep that in mind. However, it is also a fact that in interviews, Mr. Tomino said the name that will remain for future generations is not mine, but Mr. Yonose's. How do you interpret the phenomenon of bread appearing throughout the Gundam series? Of course, it could also be a coincidence and have nothing to do with Ant-Man. If you're interested, I recommend watching the Ant-Man anime. Since it's made for children, you can enjoy it even if you don't know the backstory. The movies made for theatrical release are especially recommended in that case. Many parents who watch them with their children say they ended up crying from the unexpected emotion. In the anime version of Ant-Man, he fights villains using punches and kicks. You might think that's different from what you talked about in today's episode. However, these scenes were added to make the story more exciting. It's the same reason toy-like mecha appear in Gundam stories. Still, Ant-Man never takes anyone's life. He simply sends troublesome villains away temporarily. He only fights to push away the robots the villains fight, stopping the trouble just long enough. Finding an answer to what is justice is extremely difficult. However, I believe it's fair to say that Ant-Man's ideals embody absolute justice. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts too if you'd like. Thank you so much for watching until the end. See you in the next episode.